Hey guys, this video is going to be a video about gauging matchups in the mid game. So there's a lot of criteria that define a good or bad matchup, and this video is specifically going to be talking about farming as any core role. Both examples are going to be from the carry role, but the same thing applies in the mid lane as well as for offlaners who are the reverse in these scenarios. So what we're talking about is a situation that causes a lot of inefficiency that I see, especially among players that are 3K and below, but I still see bits and pieces of this as you climb the ranks.
Banana slam jam.
But let's go ahead and watch this clip coming up here where Juggernaut has just cleared a creep wave. It's 717, and exactly what happens here. So he walks up for the next creep wave where he's looking to farm, and you can see that he's being a bit passive. And instead, what happens is, you'd be thinking he wants to clear these creeps. The Razor is going to press Link, ulti, and he's going to spend the next, we started at what, 725? He's going to spend the next 15 seconds retreating to underneath his tower. And what's so important about this example that I see all the times in your games is a criteria for gauging matchups that a lot of you seem to overlook. And this simple question that you must ask yourself goes as follows. If I and the opponent I am laning against walk up to the creep wave and we both cast our spells, who runs away? And in this example, you saw that the Razor pushed Static Link and the Jug, because he only has spin as his defensive mechanic, which doesn't work versus Static Link, was forced to run away. So this is a simple example where if he had known that or had thought about it, maybe he didn't know about this matchup, instead of walking up to this creep wave after clearing this previous one, he would have then gone to the jungle camps that are available to him. And that is exactly what the goal of any core player is to not spend time inefficiently interacting with the opponent. You want to be hitting creeps or going to gank someone if you're a mid laner, or even just picking up a rune as often as humanly possible. And a lot of you guys, I don't think, ask yourselves this question based on how often I see this happen. So the goal from these examples that I'm showing you is to learn not only to ask yourself this question every single time you're considering a creep wave or a jungle camp, but to also think about exactly why the Razor won the trade, or exactly why the hero you're against would be scary to you or not. So say the Razor had already used Link and you knew it was on cooldown, then maybe he would feel more comfortable going for this creep wave. But so in the next example, we're going to see a very different perspective of the same situation. So here we find ourselves in an incredibly similar situation, where the Alchemist is just clearing a creep wave, coincidentally at the exact same time as the previous replay, and he's going to use ultimate once this creep wave is already cleared. And the reason why we emphasize the use of this ultimate is going to be quite apparent in just a bit. So he's already cleared the creep wave, he's now retreating to the jungle to farm a stack. So after he farms the stack, we then have to reconsider if we return to the lane or not, right? So he's going to return to lane, and against this Abaddon, his ulti is now going to be on cooldown. Notice how he's no longer in his ultimate. And now that his ultimate's on cooldown, the Abaddon is going to run at him. And all this time spent not hitting creeps is what we are truly emphasizing here. I think a lot of you understand that you need to avoid dying while farming, but a lot of you miss the fact that these times where the guy's just running at you and you're spending time running away, you might as well be dead in the sense that you're not getting any gold. We're gonna go ahead and fast forward through this and see that in a period of about 30 seconds after he returned to lane, he only got one creep. And then you have to compare that to how much he could have gotten by, say, farming the medium camp and then stacking the large camp. You know, that's a big difference in efficiency. But we're also going to highlight the fact that if he had his ultimate going, then the Abaddon is not going to be able to run at him. The only reason the Abaddon was able to hit him like he did is because he had used his ultimate. So while your ultimate on Alchemist does technically accelerate your farm because it lowers your base attack time, which means you attack faster, you don't need to do that in order to clear that small camp stack that you saw him clear. So if he had chosen to hold on to his ultimate here, walked over to the small camp, used his next Soul Ring charge to kill that camp, and then walked back into lane with his ultimate going, then it wouldn't have been the same thing. So in the last replay, we talked about the fact that maybe if the opponent's ability is on cooldown, it would have allowed the Jug to walk back into lane. But what I want you guys to think about when it comes to casting your spells in regards to farming, this applies honestly from like minute 6 until maybe minute 20, is if you use that spell and then want to return to lane, if that spell was necessary for you to clear that wave efficiently or not be afraid of getting bullied or whatever could possibly go wrong, then you should have held on to that spell. I would rather be a half HP Alchemist farming that small camp, ulting my way back to the wave, than be a full HP Alchemist with no ult. Because you notice he was stuck running away from the Abaddon. I want to encourage you guys that this is a concept that a lot of you have the knowledge to already apply. What I mean by that is you guys do the right thing. The enemy uses their spell and you run away. You guys generally have a good gauge of when you lose the matchup after the guy has casted his spells. So the whole point of this video is to realize that you guys have this knowledge that is being untapped, that you guys can utilize to make sure you don't go through these lull periods of 20 to 30 seconds where you're just not hitting creeps because you chose to walk up to a creep wave against a guy that could bully you away in the current scenario. And it's something really important to note that if there is somebody that bullies you away and there's another hero that doesn't, then you can look to rotate lanes in order to farm. This not only has to do with currently thinking about the guy you're laning against, but if you realize no matter what you do that guy's going to bully you away, you could consider rotating to a lane if there is one that does not do that. So this is hopefully a super educational short tidbit for you guys that all I really want to drive home is ask yourself, if both me and the opponent core in my lane walk up to the creep wave, who walks away? Okay, that is the biggest question, and it should solve so many of your guys' inefficiencies of farm, because a lot of you tend to ask me, how do I farm faster, BSJ? I think this issue is one of the biggest culprits for causing that to happen. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you, nerds.